You're scrolling, half awake, not really thinking about anything. And then you see it. Someone you went to school with just got engaged. Someone else bought a house. A third just announced the promotion, the dream job, the big move. And without deciding to, your brain starts doing math. How old are you? How old are they? Where you are? Where you should be by now. And your stomach drops a little into that horrible, sinking, familiar feeling. Everyone is moving forward, and you're standing still. You're behind. You missed something. The train left, and you're still on the platform. So tonight, let's sit with that feeling honestly, and then take it apart. Because that feeling of falling behind is one of the most painful things a person can carry. And it's also almost entirely a lie. First, the relief you need to hear. It is absolutely not just you. This exact feeling, that everyone else got a map you didn't, that there's a schedule and you're failing it, haunts an entire generation right now. The people whose lives look so far ahead of yours, a huge number of them are lying awake feeling behind too, measuring themselves against someone else. It's almost universal, which is the first clue that something's off, because if nearly everyone feels behind, then behind can't really be a place. So let's find out what's actually generating this feeling, because once you see the machine, it loses its grip. Here's the first piece. Somewhere along the way, you absorbed a script, a timeline for how a life is supposed to go. Finish school by this age, career sorted by that age, relationship, house, marriage, kids, all stamped onto a neat little calendar. You never agreed to this schedule. You never sat down and chose it. It just seeped in, from family, from movies, from everyone around you, until it felt like a law of nature. But here's the thing. That timeline is completely made up. It's not biology. It's not truth. It's a cultural story, and a wildly outdated one at that, built for a different economy, a different world, a time when life was cheaper and paths were narrower. Therefore, you are measuring your real, complicated, modern life against a schedule that doesn't even apply anymore. You're failing a test that was canceled years ago, and no one told you. And then there's the second piece, the one that pours fuel on the fire every single day, the feed. Think about what social media actually shows you. Nobody posts the breakup, the rejection, the quiet Tuesday where nothing happened, the year they felt lost. They post the engagement ring, the sold sign, the new title. So your phone becomes a nonstop highlight reel, a stream of the single best moments from hundreds of different lives, all stitched together. And your brain, which is wired to compare, takes that impossible montage and treats it as the standard. Therefore, it feels like everyone, everywhere, is winning all at once, while you, watching it, are just living a normal life with normal struggles. You're comparing your behind the scenes, every messy frame of it, to everyone else's carefully chosen highlight. It was never a fair comparison. It was never even a real one. And it gets sneakier, because that feed doesn't just show you the wins, it compresses time. In real life, those milestones are spread out across years, scattered among struggles you'd never see. But on your screen, 50 people's best moments from a whole decade all land in your thumb in a single afternoon. So your brain does the math wrong. It thinks, look how much everyone is achieving so fast. When really, you're seeing the rare peaks of hundreds of separate lives squeezed into 10 minutes, and then comparing all of it, at once, to your one ordinary day. No wonder you feel like you're crawling while the world sprints. You're racing a highlight reel that doesn't exist. But here's the deepest flaw in the whole thing, the one hiding under all of it. The word behind only makes sense if there's a single race, on a single track, with a single finish line that everyone's running toward. And there isn't. There is no universal track. Your life is not a race against the people you grew up with. They are not your competition, and their timeline is not your scoreboard. Someone who married at 23 is not ahead of someone who found themselves at 35. They're just on completely different roads, moving at completely different speeds toward completely different places. Ahead and behind are words for a race. And you were never in a race. You're on a path, your own. And there are two more things the falling behind feeling conveniently hides from you. The first is that you only ever compare upward. Your brain doesn't tally the dozens of people doing worse than you or struggling in ways you can't see. It locks onto the few who appear to be doing better and treats them as the standard. So no matter where you stand, there will always be someone a step ahead to make you feel behind. It's a rigged measurement that can only ever produce one answer: not enough. The second thing is even bigger. That timeline you're failing, buy the house, settle the career, hit the milestones by a certain age, was built for a completely different world. It was written for an economy where homes cost a fraction of what they do now, where one job lasted a lifetime, where the whole game was simply cheaper and slower. You are being asked to keep your grandparents' schedule on a planet that has completely changed the rules. So when you feel behind their timeline, understand. It's not that you failed the schedule. It's that the schedule failed you. An entire generation is running a race on a track that was quietly torn up beneath their feet, and then blaming themselves for stumbling. That's not your personal failure. That's a map that no longer matches the world. And this is where it gets genuinely heavy, if you let the feeling win. Because the constant sense of being late doesn't just sting in the moment, it quietly poisons everything. It makes you unable to enjoy the things you do have, because you're too busy measuring them against what you don't. It turns your real, present life into a permanent waiting room, always feeling like the good part starts later, once you've caught up. You stop living your actual life because you're so ashamed of where it is on a schedule that isn't even real. That's the true cost. Not being behind. Missing the life you're actually in because you're staring at someone else's. So, take a breath. Here's the turn. If almost everyone feels behind, and the timeline is made up, and the feed is a lie, and there's no real race, then behind was never a real place. It's a feeling manufactured by comparison, and comparison, as the old line goes, is the thief of joy. There is no right time to do anything. There is no schedule you're failing. There are people who peaked at 20 and felt lost at 40, and people who found everything at 50 after decades of feeling behind. The only timeline that has ever actually mattered is your own, and the only fair comparison in the entire world is to the person you were yesterday. Not to them. Never to them. And once you stop racing ghosts, something quietly shifts. You start to notice your own path again. The progress that doesn't make it onto anyone's feed, the way you've grown, the things you've survived, the person you've quietly become. You begin to measure your life by whether it's moving toward what you actually want, not toward someone else's milestone you never even chose. The race dissolves, and what's left is just your road, going at your speed, which turns out to be exactly the right speed for you. Because it's yours. And you get to do something quietly radical. Define your own milestones. Not married by 30, house by 35, but the things that actually matter to you. Becoming a little braver, building one real friendship, learning the thing you always wanted to learn, simply being more at peace than you were last year. When you write your own scoreboard, the strangest thing happens. You start winning at your own life instead of losing at someone else's. But before any of that, here's the part one really need you to hear. The fact that you feel behind is not proof that you're failing. It's proof that you care. It means you have ambition and hope and a vision of a life you want to build. And that is a beautiful, alive thing to carry, not a shameful one. Only someone who wants to grow ever feels behind. And here's the truth the comparison voice will never tell you. You have come so much further than you give yourself credit for. The version of you from 5 years ago, the one who worried about things you've long since handled, who dreamed about things you now have, would look at your life right now and be amazed. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where your own path has brought you, carrying more than anyone around you can see, and doing far, far better than that anxious voice keeps insisting. So tonight, when the feed tries to tell you the whole world is sprinting past you, put it down for a second. And instead of measuring your life against 100 strangers' best moments, find just one way you've grown that the you of years ago would be proud of. One thing you survived. One way you're kinder, or stronger, or wiser than you used to be. Let that count, because it counts far more than any milestone on anyone's invented schedule. You're not behind. You're on your way. And your way is the only one you were ever meant to be on. If that sinking, everyone's ahead of me feeling lives in you too, you are genuinely not alone in it. There's a whole crowd of us learning to walk our own roads together. So stick around. We make these for nights like this. Take care of yourself and be a little proud of how far you've already come.